thank you so much for joining this webinar and get to know Poland a bit. Maybe before we start, I'll just quickly ask if anybody of attending today has had an experience with Poland so far. Yeah, if maybe somebody would like to say something, or if not, I will just move forward, obviously.
Or you can raise your hand. So you can raise your hand, and then we know someone of you has been to Poland already before.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's so far away yet so close, especially from Berlin to Warsaw. I am just a few hours by car, or 5 hours by train, or 40 minutes on a plane. So so accessible, yet a bit unknown. So indeed, my aim is to shed a bit of light on Poland, because it's such a diverse and dynamic destination currently, with so many new things opened, coming up, new trends, that I think it's worthwhile to have a look at it and see what is possible and what is available. As Norman introduced me, I'm Pawel. I'm the founder and the managing director of Creative Poland. And we are based in Warsaw, and we have a team of 7 members of our staff. And I think what sort of makes us different from other DMCs in Poland, that we are, I think, the only DMC that has our own in-house, graphic and motion designer, as well as our own head of production for events, technical aspects. So we are able to be your sort of a extended hand for any sort of a local flair of design or technical expertise as well. And obviously, our idea is to live up to our name and to be creative, suggest out-of-box solutions, and then hopefully this presentation will inspire you a bit. And also, we are, as the presentation shows, we are recommended by the Poland Convention Bureau, both in terms of incentive travel and conference organization. Many people ask why Poland? Because first of all, it's very accessible. It's so close to Germany, to Switzerland, to Austria, to the German-speaking markets. Based on our experience, you can fly either to Warsaw, Krakow, or Gdańsk from all the main German airports within like 1 hour of 1 hour window. So, we were doing an offer recently, and the flights from Düsseldorf, Frankfurt, Munich, Hamburg, Berlin, and I think Vienna as well, and Zurich were coming in just 15 minutes intervals between them. So it's a very accessible destination, and it offers great value for money, and most of all, it's fun. And I hope that this presentation will show you. So we are focusing firstly on Warsaw, on the capital of Poland, located in the very heart of the country. And we'll be also focusing on Gdańsk, or Danzig in German. And why those 2 cities? Simply because they are a bit unknown still, yet they are very fresh, engaging, and creative, cool, quirky. A lot of things I can say about that. So we will start off with the capital, with Warsaw. And there are a couple of reasons why Warsaw is this sort of a new wow factor. Firstly, it's, I think, the only capital in Europe that uniquely blends modern skyscrapers with medieval old town Renaissance palaces and brutalist architecture from the communist times. So it's like, Frankfurt meeting East Berlin, meeting Krakow, meeting Prague. It's like a perfect embodiment of the history of the continent and of history of Europe in one place. And it has diverse venues, great experiences, and as I already mentioned, great connectivity. And also, what not many people know is that Warsaw has a full of tech advantage. It's an AI hub for Facebook, Google Campus, TikTok, Netflix. A lot of the big brands are here, and they're developing the IT side of the whole business. And there's a great sort of environment for the AI tech, and I will show you why in some of the presentations. So as you can see, Warsaw skyline is pretty cool with all the skyscrapers, and I will show you why, because we can use them to our advantage. And I mentioned the mix of architecture was really striking. So we go from from, from the skyscrapers, we go to the palaces of the Polish royal era of the Polish kings from 16th, 17th, and centuries. Here we have the Palace on Water and the park in the center of Warsaw. These are the venues that you can actually use for the gala dinners, for concerts of Chopin music. Chopin, the Polish music composer, raised and born in Warsaw. And then we have the old town of Warsaw, which was obviously completely destroyed during World War II and then meticulously rebuilt brick by brick to look like what it looked like. And this is a UNESCO Heritage Site list for being the only fully reconstructed old town, I believe. And it is our place for all the action of scavenger hunts, visiting, and dining experiences in the old town of Warsaw. And then from this side, we can go to the industrial part of the city, which is quite present also in Warsaw. So as you can see, we have very different vibes. It's like, a chocolate box. You can piece whatever piece you want, and you can build your program of incentive or a conference meeting, showing a variety of vibing places in the city. I'll give you a very quick overview of some of the hotels, in the city. Obviously, all the main brands are available, but there is also some cool local options. Here on this slide, you can see the Autograph Marriott Collection, which is a newly opened old town establishment with this amazing terrace that's perfect for a welcome reception or live events such as fashion shows. This hotel has about 97 rooms, so it's a medium size, perfect for incentive groups that look for something different. And here you can see some of the interiors of this amazing establishment. And from 5-star, we can go to 4-star. And the prime example of 4-star hotels in Warsaw and in Poland in general is a Polish thriving hotel chain called Puro. It's a Polish brand. It's a 4-star designer chain where, the Polish local architectural design is well blended, with the hospitality. And this is Puro Warsaw City Center. And then we go and show you the new Puro, which is Puro Old Town with 190 rooms in the old town of Warsaw. So it's more like Scandinavian style leaning with the wooden decor. It was just recently opened, literally in February this year. There are lots of cool hotel options in the city. When it comes to the activities that Warsaw does offer, again, we will talk about sort of the cherry on the cake, some of the coolest ideas. Here on this slide, you can see the Polish vintage cars from the 60s called MICE. So similar to Trabitors in Eastern Berlin, for example. It's like you can do this sort of a stealth life thing with some of the cars in Warsaw, and some of the activities that we will touch upon includes obviously anything that has to do with back to communism, but then cool and funky cooking classes like the dumpling workshops, or obviously vodka masterclass, because vodka was, the idea of vodka came from Poland. Then the Russians stole the idea from us. Shame on them. And also skydeck gardens and parties to the rooftop element I mentioned. But then again, not many people know that Warsaw is quite a good place for water sports and barbecue at the beach. We'll also show you what luxury car races are possible and show you the rooftops that we have. So talking about the culinary experiences, here we have the pierogi workshop. Norman will remember those photos because they come from the MICE focus event we hosted in Warsaw last November. So this amazing place is a milk bar, and just to give you an idea, milk bar was a communist sort of a bar where the idea was to produce like a local cheap food. Now the whole concept has been taken and upgraded, and now we have those funky bars where you can get to know the Polish cuisine, especially the Polish dumplings. And you can have a little introduction through the cooking workshop. You can learn how to make the lovely Polish dumplings, and here you can see the dumpling workshop in practice. And I think I can see Norman at the very, very end, the back of Norman at least. So,
yes, correct.
Yeah, that's you, exactly. So
yes, I was more tasting and waiting. I didn't prepare. I was too lazy. I was checking if the ladies did it the right way.
Exactly, and you were chatting chatting all the clients up.
Yes, I took care of the drinks.
Exactly, and so dumpling is one local flair, but then obviously the second thing is the vodka. And for vodka, we have this amazing place, the Polish Vodka Museum, that was awarded 2018 Best Museum of Europe. It's this interactive sightseeing museum when at the very end you actually get to do stuff, and you can actually do many things with vodka, because you can do a typical vodka tastings when you learn how to distinguish potato vodka from starch vodka, from barley vodka, so different ingredients that vodka is made of. But obviously, it can be more intricate and more interesting. So we can also hold cocktail masterclass, and this is called the MasterChef. Also a photo from the MICE Focus event we did last year. So basically, the whole idea here is that you are divided into teams. Up to 50, 60 people can participate in this, and they have to run to the cellar, find the ingredients, and prepare the best cocktails out of the available ingredients. And then we have the barman from the Museum of Vodka, and as you can see, myself as the honorary judge, judging the drinks. So this one was only 6, I guess, so not bad, it seems. And here is the room, the private room at the Vodka Museum that can be utilized for this sort of event, or for any sort of a private event in the city. Another incentive idea, which is a speedy one, is the Warsaw racetrack. That's also a new thing on the map of Warsaw. It's just outside of the city, about half an hour from the city center, where you can do lots of cool things. Apart from obviously driving Porsche and all the luxury cars, you can do driving workshops when you try to do a test drive or drive in adverse weather conditions. So it's a good option not only for the summertime, but it can only be done in winter. Even more fun to test your driving skills. I mentioned before that Warsaw is a destination for water activities, and I can tell you why. Because Warsaw has an unregulated riverbank. So you have the city center and the skyscrapers on one side, and on the other you can see the trees. And this is correct. This is the sort of a natural side of the city with a beach. So you can actually do lots of cool things, from like motorboats and kayaking, water paddling. And then there are those cool barbecue spots by the river. So yeah, so you can do that as part of a lunch once the activity has finished. Or alternatively, if you want to do something cooler, you can also do a river cruise. So here is one of the example of the vessels we have on the river, on the Weichsel River or Vistula River. And this is a vessel that can take up to 200 people, and you can do a little dinner cruise along the river. So we have covered quite a few incentive options, but then also we have very cool venues, starting with this amazing cherry top venue in the city called University Warsaw Ola. And this is a venue that can fit up to 500 people in a round table setup. And it's really cool, very flexible when it comes to the EV arrangements. We did everything, including even the mapping of the venue. And by the way, most of the photos you can actually see in my presentations are the actual photos from the events we did. So at the same time, you can witness the shiny or not so shiny, you can judge portfolio of Creative Poland as an agency. So coming from this exquisite venues, you can also have royal orangeries belonging to Polish kings. This is in a summer residence of the Polish king from the 18th century. So you can do a nice dinner, and you can see the palm trees outside. So it feels more like Havana, Mexico, rather than Warsaw, but it's also available here. And
how many people how many people fit in this venue particular? If you do round gala style?
Up to 150 round table. Here we had long tables. With long tables, it's up to 200. So yeah, with round tables a bit less. So yeah, Exactly.
Cool venue.
So you can do. Yeah, it's a very cool venue. It is. It is really cool. Another cool venue that you might want to look at is this amazing property. It's called Skyfall, and it's actually Europe's only tilting sky deck that provides amazing experience. It's located 200 meters above the ground, and it's a great event space. Here you go. That's the venue inside. And at the very end, you can see you will see in a second. So these are the interiors. And then at the end of the venue, you can see this. It was a misty weather, so unfortunately you cannot see here the skyline of the city, but on normal, like on a clear day, you can actually see the skyscrapers around it. So this is a tilting sky deck when you have to hold on to rails and it's moving up and down. Norman, you're a witness of this, so you can share your experience.
Yes,
of the sky deck.
It's fun. It's fun. So
yeah.
if you're brave, then you're gonna have fun. If you're not so brave, and if you're afraid of height, you even have more fun.
Yeah, but obviously that's not the only rooftop. Warsaw has quite a few rooftop options, and the other one is here. It's another great venue, even bigger one in a skyscraper nearby. So here we have a conference set up, a conference that we did for one of our clients back in March this year, just a few months ago. And interestingly enough, those interiors won an international architectural award. So it's a really nice, flexible venue. And here's some little breaking news also for you, Norman. To be opened, there's going to be Europe's tallest forest terrace with trees and bushes. An event space is located on Warsaw Tower, and this is the European Union's tallest skyscraper, which is 350 meters tall, and the event space will be at 300 meters above the ground. So it's going to be very cool. I was actually there. It's really impressive. It's not open yet, but it's going to be opened in a month. So once we have those photos, we'll definitely include them in the STR newsletter. And I also talked about the industrial vibe of Warsaw. So here is an example of some of the cool industrial venues. This is part of the Norblin factory. It's a former factory now turned into this complex of different amazing venues, including the Artbox experience. It's a multi-visual gallery with 800 square meters of projectors. So you can actually use it for just for sightseeing, for having this audio-visual journey across time, or there are different exhibitions about paintings, about history. But also because of the movable walls, it could be a 3D immersive gardener experience, because they also project down on the floor of the space. So it's a really cool venue. Another cool venue in this property is this great restaurant with a stage LED screen, and also the tallest bar in Poland, 8 meters tall, with vodka. So good luck with that. And when it comes to some bigger conference options, I will quickly touch upon the natural park outside of Warsaw, where you have this amazing property. It's one of the biggest conference hotels outside of the city, 45 minutes from Warsaw city center. It's a cool conference location and a national park. It was built in a way so not a single tree is cut. And here you have this, very interesting interiors that look like the branches of the tree. It's actually 1,200 square meters of space. It could be divided in different areas. So even for events up to, I think the biggest one, we did a gardener here for like 700 people. So it's a very impressive thing. And they also have a beach outside, which can be turned into this sort of a barbecue party place. That's also a photo from our event. So to sum it up, why Warsaw? Because it's a cool combination of very different vibes and styles, from communist sturdy buildings to rooftops to royal palaces, from water experiences, great vintage cars, to dumpling workshops, vodka workshops, but also cool city games. It's I think it's a destination that might aspire to many people, and could be a bit of out of the box, especially also the AV design and the new part of the city. So that's Warsaw for you. Before I go to the seaside and to Danzig at the Baltic coast, maybe you have any questions about Warsaw before I continue.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. First of all, thank you. It looks really, really nice. I was just wondering, what would you suggest is the best time to travel to Warsaw, like tourist-wise, weather-wise, rate-wise, like in general?
Yeah, sure, of course. Well, obviously, to sort of use the city to its fullest potential, anytime from middle of April to end of September is the best time, like in Germany, because you can then use a variety of outdoor experiences. But apart from that, pretty much there's such a variety of options that it's an all year round destination. We had Christmas incentive in December, winter experiences in January and February, because funnily enough, the National Stadium in Warsaw turns into this sort of a theme park for, winter experiences. So I can say that if you want to make it happen, it's possible all year round, with an emphasis obviously on spring and summer, because then obviously you can use the river, you can use the parks and the outdoor more often.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. So moving on to Gdańsk. So as you can see, we love birds. We had a pigeon on the Warsaw slide, and here we have a seagull taking us to Gdańsk, to the top of Gdańsk. And before I continue to Gdańsk, I can also tell you that actually sometimes we do combine incentives, Gdańsk and Warschau, or Danzig and Warschau, because it's only 2.5 hours on the Polish express train. And you can go from Gdańsk Old Town to Warsaw city center, basically on foot. So it's a very seamless operation. But then you at least need 4 days to make this happen. Gdańsk is it's my personal incentive favorite, and actually Norman can also say this is our hot seller as for the Polish destinations, for incentives especially, because it has everything that every Polish city has, meaning the old town, the cool places, but then it also has the city attached, and it's really an amazing destination. Here you can see the charming old town located by the river, and the river is actually connected with the sea, so you can actually go from the old town and you can start the water activities over here. Gdańsk has this Hanseatic architecture, just like in any northern city. So it has some beautiful tenement houses housing different restaurants and venues and places. And that's when we run the tours, when we invite the guests to get immersed into the old town, because it's really, really beautiful. You can see some of the photos that we took during our events. This is the Amber Street, where basically every single building has an amber shop or an amber workshop. But when it comes to the connection of amber, the gold of Gdańsk, and the activity we can do, I will touch upon it a bit later. And here you have some of the newer buildings on the boulevard of Gdańsk, including the Radisson overlooking the river. So starting with Gdańsk, you can start in a restaurant with a nice cocktail reception overlooking the old town. And this is one of the photos of how it could be done when the group arrives into Gdańsk, and they can just, have a little chill out time before they check into the hotel. But Gdańsk is, just so you know, Gdańsk is part of the Tree City, so it's a metropolitan area. Next to Gdańsk, we have a little town called Sopot. And Sopot is a sea town, the spa town, just 25 minutes by transfer from Gdańsk Old Town, or 1 to 2 hours by yachts or regattas or speedboats, if you combine this with a little cruise on the sea, but I will come back to a bit later. And Sopot boasts the longest wooden pier in Europe that stretches for over 1 kilometer long. So this is the pier from the earlier view, and this is also our spot where we start or we finish the sea activities, the water activities at the seaside. When it comes to the hotels, again, we have a great variety. Here you can see the rooftop of the Hilton Hotel overlooking the old town of Gdańsk, and at the back you can actually see, it's an older photo, now it's finished. There's this granary island with many hotels and options. And in this street that you can see throughout the river, you can actually find about 1,300 hotel rooms. So even for huge incentives, it is possible to do it in Gdańsk. Obviously, well in advance because it's a popular destination, but still, it is possible. Here we have an example room at the Radisson overlooking the old town and the other side of the river. But also we have the Polish chain Puro that I mentioned from Warsaw. It's also available in Gdańsk with about 200 rooms, with some great, aquatic inspired, interiors and the sort of sea references. So there's a cool variety, and obviously Sopot, the other town, also has some beach hotels located just by the beach. So it is possible to choose whether you want to stay at the beach or in the old town of Gdańsk. That's usually sort of the not the problem. The problem is a bad word. It's always the question whether people should stay at the beach or in the old town. So I always recommend the old town because you have just more time. More space for any sort of weather conditions that they change or whatever compared to the beach side. So in case it rains, for example, you can do more than in the old town. When it comes to the activities, you can see some funky cars that we use sometimes for the sightseeing or for the tourists. We have a bespoke Fahrenheit tour. Just Fahrenheit, a Gdańsk-born physicist who came up with the Fahrenheit scale. Obviously, he was born there, and so we have this bespoke Fahrenheit tour, about which I will talk about in a second. But also we do Baltic Amber workshops. We do creative food workshops with Baltic herring, and obviously vodka tours because it's Poland. But then obviously we do Baltic Sea regattas, beach Olympics and water activities, e-bike across Baltic coastline trains, dinner cruises, rooftop parties, again, Poland and the rooftops. I don't know, there's a thing, every single new Polish venue has a rooftop. And then also we have a cool shipyard. You have the picture when you can do different creative parties with a graffiti workshop or whatever else. But starting with the prime example, we have the Fahrenheit scale tour when we basically get to know some of the coolest and the hottest places in the Gdańsk Old Town. So you can see the vibey spots like this amazing Eclair store. It's a local artisan shop where they make Gdańsk eclairs, and they are absolutely exquisite. Just look at it. So it's mouth-watering, literally. To visiting some cool places like this cool cherry vodka stop. So basically, you do the twisting, old town tour with a bit of element of like local flavors, where tourists normally don't know where to go, so we sort of direct them into those cool Instagrammable spots of Gdańsk Old Town. Of course, we are on the water, so we can do some cool activities on the water. Here we have kayaking, but also we have e-boats, so electric boats. We have stand-up paddling. There are many options in the river. I mentioned the amber. It is also possible to do the artisan amber workshop. There is a museum of amber in Gdańsk where you can do a workshop for up to 20 people, when each participant can actually prepare a piece of their own jewelry for themselves. That's also an option. E-bikes. So because we are trying to be high on sustainability, that's a very cool option. Even for bigger groups, you can rent e-bikes in the old town and then finish in Sopot at the seaside. So for example, do a little tour in the morning. Like we did this just a month ago with one of the groups, when one part of the group went on a yacht to the sea and then to Sopot, and the remaining part to the e-bikes, and they were basically biking to the seaside. As for the yacht, it could be yachting, but it also could be regattas. So this is available even for up to 140 people at once. So you have those nights yacht with some refreshments and food on side, and you can do lots of cool things. So you have some photos of them. But then also we have those vintage river cruises, dinner cruises for smaller groups for up to 40 people that you can do in Gdańsk. When it comes to culinary experiences, we also recommend visiting some local restaurants, like this amazing restaurant that dates back to 17th century, and it was this sort of a hotspot for the seamen who were coming back from fishing and sailing. I also mentioned the shipyard. So shipyard is this sort of a cool new vibey spot of Danzig, where you can do a cool lunch or a workshop. It could be a garden location, but it also could be a place for the graffiti workshops for any size of the group, because it's a huge space. Now, turning into the venues of some of the cool venues, Gdańsk has some really beautiful venues. Just look at this one. This is a photo of a gardener we did in the old town of Gdańsk just a couple of months ago. It's in this St. John's historical center. It used to be a church 100 years ago. Obviously, it has been desecrated, and now it serves as one of the prime venues of the city, where you can do a dinner of up to 120 people with those amazing Gothic vibes. So it's a well-recommended venue. But then also from the ground floor, we can go to the rooftop again, because Gdańsk has the highest located and highest located even venue in the Tri-City, with 600 meters square of 360 view of the city and of the whole shore of Gdańsk, where you can use this space for gala dinners and for dinners. Actually, next to this space, you have a restaurant that has a Michelin star, and they're Shader catering. So you can really get great food experience over there. Another great venue is Shakespeare Theatre, which is the only theatre in this part of Europe with a retractable and open rooftop. So you can actually do a gala dinner for 350 people when, during the top moment of the evening, you can open the roof and people can see the sky and the weather is good. So it's an amazing venue. You can remove the audience and you can play with it. It could also be a conference venue. So yeah, it's a cool establishment. When it comes to some of the restaurants and other places, yeah, there are lots of nice orangeries, lots of vibey old town places, to a great restaurant by the seaside in Sopot. So if you want to combine the old town with the seaside experience looking like southern of Europe, it's absolutely possible. And then obviously, again, I will talk about the rooftops, because Gdańsk again has a very cool rooftop with open rooftop again for events for up to even 300 people. We have this amazing restaurant where you have views like that from the inside, overlooking the whole of the old town of Gdańsk. So this is a photo that actually we took from this rooftop venue, and summarizing why Gdańsk. Yeah, because it has a cool combination of amazing venues, great culinary experiences, and obviously all the water activities and the beach activities that are available over there. This is really cool and a great combination. When I began the presentation, I also mentioned that we have a graphic designer in-house. So you may want to work with us and prepare some Polish themed gadgets for your incentives, whether T-shirt or special bags. So some really cool stuff. We can also help you design and find some cool items for your guests as a giveaway or as a gift, as a room drop. So this is obviously possible. So yeah, so this is it. This is myself. Again, you can see me here. You can see me on the cam. Any questions about Gdańsk now, or in Poland in general?
Great. Thank you so much, Pawel, for this lovely destination.
You're welcome.
It's nice to see it again. I have been to both destinations, and I can really say it's a super surprising destination. But now it's time for you, ladies. If you have any questions coming up, there was one important question for the travel time. I'm sure we're going to have the same question for Danzig as well. But apart from the travel time, where you maybe can say some words, are there any questions that are still open from you, which we haven't answered in the presentation? Now Carmen needs to say goodbye. Goodbye, Carmen. Yes, Larissa, please go for it.
For the hotel density, I'm sure there's a lot different hotels. I mean, you showed just a few, both in Danzig and also in Gdansk. But for me, when I look at Warschau, I wanted to know if you go into the city with a huge group, speaking of 300, 400 people, do you still find enough hotels to stay, which are special enough? Let's say that, put it this way, and not the typical Congress hotel or like the ones that are square and that's it, and then a huge bunker of beds. So do you find very, very hip and trendy hotels in big sizes as well? Because for incentives and smaller groups, it's always nice. You have a great choice, but how is it for bigger groups?
What do you consider big?
350 plus 400, 500, like this. Yeah, from 350 to 500.
Sure, of course. So obviously, there's only 1 or 2 hotels, 3 hotels in the old town, in the city center of Warsaw, where you can have this amount of people in one hotel, but it is possible. However, when it comes to funky and design hotels, you can also have a group of this size in those hotels. However, obviously you'd have to combine at least 2 or 3 hotels usually to make it happen. Close by, walking distance, but it is possible if you wanted to go for something edgy, something different than a typical, let's say, Hilton, if you know what I mean. So it is possible. For example, you could combine both Pura hotels, which is the Polish design chain that I showed you in this presentation. So Warsaw has 3 Pura hotels. So for this size of the group, we would have to combine 2 hotels. They are they are walking distance from each other, so it could be an option.
Because the conference area is quite big, so around the conference, the conference center that you showed, which was very, very modern. If you have if you have enough hotels nearby, which I believe which is almost every time the case, and if they are not like too normal, it's a funny thing to say, but you know what I mean. When you have a hotel and you come inside the hotel and you feel it's a nice vibe. It's not, you don't feel like it's a Congress vibe, because there are so many Congress hotels which are very black and white only, and then it's a sad atmosphere, when someone sits in a meeting the whole day and then they come in the hotel.
I absolutely get you. And actually this conference hotel I showed you, it has 330 rooms. And you can actually, and you can book this hotel exclusively for your group. It's a Polish hotel, so they are not, tied to any international contracts or whatever. So you can actually privatize the whole hotel. It's a huge plus. And they have the beach. They have a lot of green areas around it. So it feels more like a retreat rather than, a conference, basically. And all the rooms, conference, it has a huge windows overlooking the trees. So so it's precisely what you mentioned. It's a bit of a different concept, and it is something that could be possible for this size of the group, definitely.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sure. And I also might mention, because many people ask for like bigger events and conferences, and maybe Norman might have mentioned it to some of you, but in Poland, the tax thing is quite flexible. I mean, for bigger meetings, let's say if you have the conference facility, the rooms, catering, activities, whatever, we can work on the reverse charge scheme, meaning that we do not add the Polish VAT on top. So it is possible. It's very flexible in Poland. Which is quite important, because the Polish VAT is normally 24%, so it's a bit of a saving if things go as a package, basically.
There was one more question, Pawel. I think Anya, she raised her hand, so please, Anya, feel free.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if there's any limitations in terms of reaching the hotels or main attractivities by bus, like, in comparison to Paris, for example, or Strasbourg, where you have a lot of pedestrian areas.
Well, that's a very good question, and no, and it's actually very convenient, because in both cases, Gdańsk and Warschau, first of all, the airport is very close to the city, so we are talking about 20 minutes transfer time from the airport to the city center to all the hotels, and most of the hotels are located, within, like, accessible roads, also in Gdańsk Old Town. So there's maybe 1 or 2 hotels in Gdańsk Old Town where you have to stop and you have to walk maybe for a minute to access it, but it's not like you have to walk 10-15 minutes to a location from the main street. So no, it's very accessible, and usually in most of the cases the bus can actually get just outside of the venue or the hotel.
Great, perfect. I hope that
Great,
that question
thanks.
was answered, Anja. Great. Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
You're
Great.
more than welcome.
Yeah. Larissa, I suggest that probably Pawel can send you a kind of overview or some information about the hotels. I have one hotel in mind in which we were hosting the MICE Focus event, which is it is a plaza, I need to say, but it's a funky one, and I was surprised. So when I heard that we stayed at the Crown Plaza, my first reaction was like, oh wow, I'm super excited, because Crown Plaza is boring if you go to a Crown Plaza in Germany. But then coming to Warsaw, I needed to change my mind, because the Crown Plaza was really funky. It was fancy, great design. It was super reasonable, very fair prices. They had a rooftop bar. The breakfast was amazing, and the interior and the conference area, Larissa, and I know that you are sometimes using the conference areas. I was super amazed, and Pawel can tell you more. It's the most fanciest and with the latest technologies. So it does not look like a Crown Plaza.
Yeah, that's you're actually raising a fair point, Norman. Sometimes you think, oh, Crown Plaza or Novotel. Just like last week, we went to the biggest Novotel in Warsaw, which has 700 rooms, and it was like refitted design, and it was just refurbished, and all the rooms are like looking like Puro, like the rooms I showed you from the Polish hotel chain, that they have this sort of a local flair. And they are more funky, if you know what I mean. So it's not like your typical Novotel or Crown Plaza. So it's a huge plus that the hotels are not boring. That you can really choose something cooler, different, and also new. There are a lot of new options. So also new budget options. So there is there are even cool in Gdańsk, for example, in the Old Town. There is a cool new 3-star hotel with a 4-star quality with 300 rooms, where you even can get a room at a good rate, even like 110 or 20 euros per night. So there are lots of cool options for hotels, definitely.
Yeah. And maybe adding to Anja's question, I can say you can even use the public transportation system very easy in Warsaw. So you get off the plane and you jump into the metro, and you can directly go to the Crown Plaza, for example, because it's below a metro station. So that's super convenient. It takes you only 15 to 20 minutes. So that's very surprising and super easy. I mean, for an incentive, you will probably not use the metro, but if you are talking about a conference room or some sustainable options, that would be easy, and you save traffic, you save buses. It's very convenient. So it's a surprising fact as well, which I think we have to mention here in that case.
Yeah, definitely, and also get to the Old Town from the hotel directly. Yeah. So it is well connected. And also answering question about visiting Gdańsk. Obviously, the best time to visit Gdańsk is from beginning of May till the end of September. So obviously, it's a seaside destination. So now is the season to visit it. And we had some meetings and incentives in wintertime. Obviously, the options are a bit more limited, but it's also possible to do something cool. However, usually I would recommend Warsaw or Krakow for a winter incentive, and Gdańsk for spring and summer, or maybe early autumn.
Yeah, great point, Pawel. Thanks for mentioning it. Yeah, so one lady, she needed to say goodbye, Sabrina, and she was asking me when can she come over to Poland. So I said to her, you are very welcome to join us.
Yes.
And this is for all of you guys. So if you are really, if you want to experience one of these destinations in Poland, and just drop us a line, you are always welcome to stop by for a site inspection.
Definitely.
Pawel can show you his city. And so far for this year, we don't have any plans for a fam trip to Poland, but I can say that for next year we have a super lovely fam trip. I won't say too much. It's going to be a surprise.
No, it's a surprise, definitely.
It's a super unique fam trip, and so if you can't wait that long, then maybe you fly in for 1 or 2 nights to get to know Danzig or Warsaw, or maybe have a combination of both, because it's really surprising and it's nice. And to get an impression, 2 days or 2 nights, it's enough, and you have a very, very nice impression of what you can do with groups over there. I can assure you. Yeah. Great. Any more questions, ladies, so far?
One last question from my side, because you've mentioned the VAT. Do you also, or is it in Poland the same that you charge? Because in the Czech Republic, I know that the hotels have a 10% service charge, and the locations do it as well for any F&Bs. Is it the same in Poland?
It depends on the location. Some of the chain hotels do have, but local hotels they don't. So it really depends on a case by case scenario. But the good thing is that if you do a package, like you can do a package in Poland, like the rooms and meeting spaces and everything, and then it's sort of on the same VAT level, so we can take off the VAT as the local agency. Because if you purchase the hotel directly, obviously they will charge the local VAT. But as a agency, as a service provider, if we create an events package with some other items, then we can take the VAT off. So that's usually how it works.
So going for you, we would save the 24% and then
exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
In the hotels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was
Very
my last
important.
question. Yeah, that's indeed very important.
Yeah.
No, it is. It is definitely.
It was the same. We just had it. It was the same. I think it was. We heard it from another DMC from. I think it was Spain. They have the same option. So it's very handy because, for us either it's a handling fee that we put on top, or we save the VAT, because the VAT we don't get it back as a German agency. It's lost. It's in
exactly. So it's a great value for money.
Yeah.
So usually even if we keep the hotel commission, you're still like 13% ahead. Obviously, it's always up to discussion regarding the projects, but usually it is how it works. And even it happened in the past for us that we had some international agencies approaching us and asking us only to to purchase the hotel account via us, so they can save the VAT, because it made more sense. If it's a big event, for example, you have like a few hundred people in the hotel, so it's a massive difference with the VAT difference.
Yeah, great savings so far. Great.